Sentencing would be Wyatt Chapman. Animal torture, 4-year felony. The advisory guidelines were scored at 10 to 23 months. Where it says Detective Bullock asked about the text message.
Correct. The third line down, it says he admitted to raking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Typo. Again, you know how I feel about the typos. Well, just pick up the phone ahead of time.
Yes.
We'll fix that typo. And again, I mean, people are entitled to make those changes. I just think efficiency would call for us to deal with typos ahead of time with the agent. All right, Mr. Kukeski, anything you want to say on behalf of you?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Chapman stands before the court for sentencing today, and as Your Honor understands, the animal cruelty and the conduct in this case is alleged almost 2 years ago. Since that time, Mr. Chapman has been counseling with Thunder Bay. He's also been seeing community mental health as well. As the PSI notes in his history, he's dealt with a lot of trauma, Your Honor, as a child, and then at the hands of individuals that he was just associated with in his drug abuse in the past that he's had that have really been challenging, and he's been really trying to overcome that abuse and that drug use and that past, Your Honor. And I think it's important to note that the bond in this case has been going on for over a year, and he's been complying with that. We haven't had any issues. I haven't had any show causes or brought before the court for any issues since I've handled the matter, taken on this matter. He's made those changes in his life. He's surrounded by an extremely supportive family, his father and his mother. Since he's moved back from Texas, where he was in an abusive relationship, he's got some time to parent with his son, which has been a real eye-opener to him. As Your Honor had stated earlier, it seems that you just can't break those habits or make those changes in life. And Wyatt's still a young man, and he's still making those changes and pursuing that better lifestyle, a better father, better son, and just a better member of the community that he lives in. Working with his uncle, I believe, at a lodge where he does maintenance and cleans at the lodge. He does have a daughter that he supports. He has I guess not a biological daughter, but another daughter that father passed away, and he stepped into that role as a father figure. He has not seen his daughter in some time, but he and his son, he's making efforts at paying the child support. He is in arrearage, but he is making payments on that because that is important to him, and he understands that. He's just no longer the man that he is or that he was back when this report was made, Your Honor. I think he's really taken a step forward, been remorseful for his conduct. PSI also indicates he last time he was in prison or incarcerated to prison, he was diagnosed with PTS and several other mental health issues that he's been working through. And a lot of that stems from that past and that abuse that he had suffered. And he's not making any excuses. I'm not making any excuses for him, but I think when we're looking at somebody in, I understand the prosecutor's position, and he has not been successful, and PSI has probably noted this on probation in the past, and that's why they're recommending a straight incarceration sentence. We do feel the sentence is appropriate to just keep him to the limited to the county jail. We don't think prison would benefit him in any way, being exposed to the same types of people in garbage that's there. We didn't even ask for probation, Your Honor, as a way of monitoring. I understand that has been given to him in the past, and it has not been successful in the past. But Mr. Chapman would really like the opportunity we'd ask the court to order some probation in this matter.
All right, Mr. Chapman, you don't have to make a statement today, but it's allowed. Is there anything you want to say or no?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead and stand.
I apologize if this comes out scrambled. I've been working on a statement for a long time and I've decided not to send it in because I don't want to sound like I'm trying to point fingers with make somebody else guilty for my actions at all. I stopped all my addictions actively. Gambling, I stopped gambling, methamphetamine. There's a really big problem for me, and it really messed my brain up. And I wasn't in the right mind for a while, a couple of years. And I've come a long way because it's been a long road, obviously. I haven't seen my kids. I hadn't seen my kids in, I had 3, and I haven't seen them in over a year. And I finally got my son back in my life because I'm sober and doing good. My parents see how good I'm doing. My son's grandma sees, and she's agreed to let me see him. So I got to spend a couple months with him now. I'm kind of on and off. I'm willing to do anything I have to do to just change at this point. I did go through a lot of physical, mental, psychological, sexual abuse. And it did kind of just lead right up to me being here today. Obviously, I'm the one responsible. I'm working for my uncle, like he said, $20 an hour. He's just helping me out. My dad's messing up, and my dad's hasn't been here, and my dad's whatever. And I see it. And today I left him on the couch, and he was crying, his face down in the pillow. And I was in a rush. I had to leave. I'm sorry, buddy, I gotta go. And call me, write me. And it just kills me seeing him like that. And I really hope none of them ever found out about any of this. So, apologize. I just want you to know that I'm doing better, and I'm finally in a good headspace. It's been a long road, and I've rid myself of toxic people. I don't associate with anyone who is in my family. I just feel like I'm taking a step forward, like 2 steps back right now. And I just don't know what's going to happen to me in there, and get scared, obviously, because it's been an uproar. This whole thing causes, kind of a big deal, and I've had people harassing me, and I just would beg today for your mercy and understanding in this matter, and some leniency, if possible, if appropriate. And I apologize again for the speech not coming out great, but I did work on it for a long time and just decided to leave out all of everything else because I'm here today, and that's that. So I apologize to everyone that had to even hear about this, and I would hope that nobody would end up being in the same situation I am right now, because it's not fun. And I tried to commit suicide when I was in Cadillac jail last year for the first time ever, my first attempt to pick a safety razor and disassembled it. And they caught me in the shower just in time. And they said at the hospital, "You lost almost all your blood, and you got yours in time." It's like, okay. I chased away those thoughts, and I realized I gotta live for my kids. Like, they need me. My daughter's miserable right now with their mother, and I just want to get in a position where I can get them back in my life for good. I apologize. That's all I have to say. I'm just deeply remorseful.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chapman. Mr. McFarland, any recommendations from you?
Yes, Your Honor. Defendant is 31 years old. He has 6 prior felonies, 6 misdemeanors, and a GED. And when I think about this case, this defendant, Your Honor, and I try to zoom out, obviously he is a young man. When you look back at his criminal history and involvement with the court system, it is quite consistent. It has not been exemplar by any stretch of the imagination. And it's really been a very poor record of performance when he has been given opportunities on probation. I do appreciate what Mr. Chapman is saying. And I particularly appreciate his comments about his children. And I noted down, he says, you got to live for your kids. You do. You got to live for your kids. And making these choices is not going to cut it. They are choices. And I want to echo something Mr. Kwiatkowski said as well, that Mr. Chapman's done fairly well on bond. He has actually, compared to at least his probation history. And so, Your Honor, but when I put it into context, it's almost like the tip of the iceberg, and there's too much of a pattern and track record in the past to overlook. I would maintain he's a poor candidate for probation, given his criminal history and past sentencings, Your Honor. I do think that a term of prison would be appropriate under the circumstances, and I would ask Your Honor to impose such a sentence. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chapman, if you please stand for your sentence. You're 31 years of age. You have 6 prior felonies and 6 prior misdemeanors. We're here for sentencing on a charge of animal torture, pled down from a charge of sodomy for you having sex with that animal. And everybody's talking around that today, and you're shaking your head. That's what you're here for today. I don't know who else you're talking about, who else you would blame. I don't know who else you're going to blame. Not the dog. That is extraordinarily deviant human sexual behavior. These text messages would turn anybody's stomach reading them. I'm not going to read them on the record today. So I thought, gee, been a judge for a while. I've been involved in the criminal justice system. I don't have a whole lot of experience with bestiality cases. What are we supposed to do with those? It's a 15-year felony. You pled down to a 4-year felony. You do have, with your prior record, could have been habitual. So I thought, well, gee, how should I think about this crime? Other than with, the obvious discuss, how should I think about it in terms of an appropriate and proportionate criminal justice response? So I tried to find out, okay, I haven't sentenced anyone for this crime. What have people who have sentenced people for this crime done? There's a published case, People v. Haynes, out of Calhoun County in 2008, where somebody with a habitual 4th record got 30 months to 20 years in prison for this crime. Now, that was the only reported case I found. I did find some media reports that in 2011 in Clinton County, somebody was reduced to a misdemeanor, so they didn't get much jail. In 2013 in Muskegon, a judge exceeded the guidelines and gave prison. In 2019, an MSU physicist pled down to a misdemeanor. So again, when the prosecutor pleads it down to a misdemeanor, there's not much that happens. And then in 2024 in Bay County, the judge exceeded the recommended sentence, but I couldn't see what the sentence actually was. So sometimes, prosecutors plead it down to a 90 or 93-day misdemeanor, but when they don't, it seems like judges in the state of Michigan have sentenced it pretty strongly. So then I thought, well, what should I think about this behavior from a criminal justice response? And I did find a couple interesting articles from the Journal of the American Academy of Psychiatry and the Law. It notes, in at least 3 studies, sexual offending against animals has been associated with human sexual offending. I think which seems consistent with ordinary common sense, that someone who's engaging in just such severely deviant human sexual behavior with animals would be just somebody we'd be really worried about. So I am. And you come to the court with a straddle cell guidelines, prior poor history on supervision, including parole, 6 prior felonies. And these guidelines, they're so high because of your prior record. The offense variables are 0 points, no aggravating circumstances at all. You know why? Because we don't write sentencing guidelines with in mind people having sex with animals. When all the smart folks in the state get together and they come up with, what are our sentencing guidelines? They don't build in a variable for what do you do when you have sex with an animal. So those guidelines don't take into account the extremely deviant behavior. They don't take into account the risk of harm that you present to the community as suggested by the scientific or psychiatric literature. They don't take into account that you pled down from a 15-year felony with a habitual. And they don't take into account that you had a previous animal cruelty case that seems to be connected with this deviancy as well. You bought a dog that didn't do what you wanted, so you abandoned it. The maximum sentence that I can give you is 2/3 of the minimum, the so-called Tanner max. And honestly, with your prior record and the concerns that I have about this deviant behavior, that's appropriate, and that's the sentence. So there's crime victims assessment of $130, $68 in state costs, $350 in court costs. I'm going to commit you to the Michigan Department of Corrections for a term of not less than 32 months, nor more than 4 years. Give you credit for 126 days that you've previously served. You can file an appeal if you wish by filing an application. People want a lawyer appointed, you have to make that request within 6 months. We're going to hand you a couple pieces of paper about that, ask you to initial one, and then the other one is for you to fill out if you want to take an appeal. Yes, Mr. Chapman?
Can I speak one more time?
Well, I've announced my sentence, so no. If you have a question, I'll answer it. But your opportunity to allocute was already made, and I've announced the sentence. You can appeal if you wish.
If it's okay with him.
You okay to continue with Mr. Vogler's stuff right now? Right, well, 20. Absolutely. Okay.
Can I ask a question, Your Honor?
Yes.
So, there was a lot of things I didn't include at all, just because.
That's fine. That time is
Those are
passed.
fine.
That time is passed. You're in custody. Go with the deputies immediately.
My question was,
Go with them immediately. You're not asking a question. You're telling me other stuff. Go.
The question was, why have I never been charged with anything like
Go
that
ahead.
before?
Go ahead. You can appeal it.
All right, Mr. Vogler, I'm sorry, we've gotten so far behind.
Wyatt Chapman appeared before the court for sentencing after pleading to a reduced animal torture charge stemming from allegations involving a dog. During the hearing, the defense highlighted counseling, sobriety, mental health treatment, and efforts to rebuild relationships with his children. Chapman delivered an emotional statement describing addiction struggles, past trauma, and his desire to continue changing his life. Prosecutors argued that his 6 prior felony convictions and repeated failures on supervision showed a long-standing pattern of criminal behavior. As the facts of the case were reviewed, the judge focused on the disturbing nature of the offense and concerns about future risk to the community. The court rejected requests for probation, finding that the seriousness of the conduct and criminal history warranted incarceration. The hearing concluded with Chapman receiving a sentence of 32 months to 4 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections.